What up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Lau Times podcast. Full house again tonight. Well, not necessarily tonight because we didn't have a full house last time. We missed Alfred and Lou. It was only Edgar and Dennis. How we doing, fellas? We'll start off with you, Alfred. Now in the H.
I did. I did move back down to Houston. I heard there was gonna be Tigres games every 2 months. I was like, better be down there.
No kidding, brother. Good to have you back in Texas. Good to have you specifically in Houston. Dennis, what's up, bro? How we doing today?
Kind of a wild day, personal wise, but pretty good. Besides that, we've got COVID in the house, so we're trying to just deal with all that nonsense. Also, glad you guys are okay down in Houston. Anybody in Houston that's listening or watching, hope y'all are staying safe because tough.
Yeah, still a lot of people with no power. I have power, but I still hear many generators around me. So um, hopefully that gets taken care of soon because it sucks, man. I went a day and a half without it, and not as bad as the previous time. It was like 3 days, but I don't wish it on anybody. It's pretty hot, and yeah, Lou, good to have you back, my friend.
It's
How we
great to
doing?
be back, man. Glad to be back with you guys, and glad you guys are safe from the storm. I know it's crazy stuff. You never know how the dices are gonna roll there. So glad you guys are okay, and I think most of H Town's, for the most part, everybody's doing okay except for, material damage, but that can be fixed later.
Absolutely, 100%. Let's talk about what we're here for. Alfred's repping us, flags and everything, my friend. Why don't you start us off? We had a successful weekend on the table. I know Lou might not necessarily, stand by us as far as the play criticism that we had in our game against Necaxa season opener against a team that did all right last season, but it was an expected win at home. Especially with all the momentum and the hype that was created from TV Azteca as Tigres made its first appearance on national television on an exclusive network, which didn't have in the past before. So, Alfred, talk to me about your I guess your preparations for the beginning of the season, what your expectations were, and then we'll get into the lineups.
I think the key word is expectation. After the that Super Copa or whatever it's called game, it was kind of a disappointing loss, and we had this first game. You always wanted to start in a positive note. You had a nice rival, to match up against with Necaxa, who we knew we were going to get the win, but I think our expectation was that it was going to be somewhat funner, I guess you could say. There definitely is improvement. I will say that I do see improvement, from the prior week to this week. I saw a lot more intensity. I saw just overall, especially like, some of the players that we kind of criticized near the end of the season last season with Gorriaran and some other players. It seems like they're, I guess, Ortega or just whatever's going on in the training grounds is working, because there's a lot of intensity, and I think that's the upside. The downside is I feel is that they still need a lot of work. Just it seemed to me, and I think Lou pointed it out during the game in our chat, that it was very similar to what Piojo was offering. It was just kind of all over the place attack, just a lot of skipping the midfield and just going straight to the top. And yes, you have a lot of bodies up there, but sometimes they just felt chaotic. It felt like they went up to the end of the field, and just the final touch was not getting to the right person, was not going to the right place, because everyone was just moving all over the place. So maybe they just need some work. Maybe they'll get there. Hopefully sooner than later. But it was just a little bit tough to watch. I did not agree as much with the subs, even if stats say otherwise, Lou. But I mean, overall, we're happy for the win, and that's what we gotta praise.
Absolutely. APG opening up the season with the goal, so that's always a positive penalty kick. A little controversial here and there, but obviously it was a penalty. Went to VAR, took a while, but obviously called it, and APG locked it in to secure his 210th goal with our jersey. Lou, lineup impressions, my friend. Where are we at with this lineup? You happy with it? Luis Quinones making another season and another starting role locked in.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it in the group chat that it's important to study history, and the reason we study history is to not repeat the same mistakes, right? And I feel like Pauno, in that sense, is going down the same route as Piojo Herrera. He fell in love with Luis Quinones early on, and it was our chance to get rid of him, and we didn't get rid of him. And I think he's kind of going down that same route again, falling in love with Luis Quinones. Luis Quinones, you're not going to change him, man. He's not. He's going to be the same guy he's been for the last 4 seasons. So to me, it's disappointing to see Luis Q in the starting 11. I hope that with Linus being back, practicing now, hopefully getting back in rhythm, we see Linus instead of Luis Q in there. And hopefully Pauno's not trying to push Luis Quinones on the front office and making a push to try to keep him, because we really shouldn't keep Luis Quinones. He needs to be on the same boat as Samir Caetano. We need to get rid of him. Other than that, I thought the lineup was all right. Well, unfortunately, the front office hasn't made any moves, so we don't have any new exciting players that we could actually plug in and see how they work out. So he's working with what he has, and I think it's a decent starting lineup. I think it's like Alfred said. I think there's a few wrinkles in there, right? He's doing a few different things that Siboldi wasn't doing, and I think it's going to take time to implement his style. It's going to take a while for El Profe Ortega, who has to put some conditioning work on these guys to get them up to speed to be able to play the style that Pauno wants to play. But to me, I wasn't that disappointed in the game. I thought it was a decent start to a new coach, to the new era. So I think there's things there that we can be positive about, and obviously we all know that the squad needs reinforcements. I think that goes without saying. I think we're all in agreement. If the squad stays the same, we're not going anywhere. We're not going to win a cup, but with what he has, I think he's doing okay.
I've heard Ortega twice now by these gentlemen, Dennis, more than Paunovic. So, who's the more important person going forward? Paunovic to implement the style, especially with what Alfred brought up with the chaotic aspect, and then Lou suggesting that there was improvements on the field. How much of an importance is the physical trainer going to have versus Paunovic? And then also your impressions of the game and the result.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about the fact that we still don't have our whole squad, and it's going to take a little bit for Linus to get back fully fit. Even Marcelo, I know he wasted his time just rotting on the bench with the national team, so it'll probably take him a little bit to get used to the standards that Ortega's setting. But um, I don't think we'll see the peak of that until like the end of this 4 game stretch before Leagues Cups and during Leagues Cup. I think that's when we'll start to see kind of like the more acclimatedness of the training and what happens on during the week during practices and stuff. I don't have too much to add with what y'all said as far as during the game, other than just to shout out the standouts, which to me were Guignac and Javier Aquino, who was unbelievable, and Cordova. And it's a shame that Cordova was the one that got subbed off when Brunetta had probably one of the worst games I've ever seen in our shirt. And I hope that this lingering rumor that keeps coming about of like maybe we'll sell him to Chivas for somebody that Paunovic likes like goes away, because Sebastian's way too important to our team to just let go that easily for. So hope that goes away. And yeah, just pretty decent performance. Not anything to get super excited about yet, but hopefully with some more training and new additions, we'll get up there. Although the other thing I'll say too, Fox Deportes, tough to access, man. Like trying to watch the game on Saturday was a trip. So hopefully it's just a temporary solution. We can find something a little bit easier soon.
I think you're being too optimistic there, and I'm just going to be real with everybody who's tuning in and listens to the audio. It's going to be a hassle to watch Tigres in the United States this whole season,
Brutal.
unless at some point after the League's Cup they make an announcement and a partnership. Once the momentum of the League's Cup it's going, and the Tigres brand is in the United States. Fubo, you gotta, like I mentioned last week, Fubo gotta get the additional package if you don't have, or the Latino package. And then as well as YouTube TV in order to get Fox Deportes. If you have Xfinity, my parents have Xfinity. They have the most basic channels, but Fox Deportes is included in there because they have the Latino packages. So I was able to stream on the Fox Sports app by logging in and connecting the Xfinity account. But I think it's going to be quite a hassle, like I mentioned. So buckle up and be ready to watch some YouTube links. And hopefully, most of the teams that we play are on when we play away. That's when we're going to be lucky and catch majority of the games, because most of
Like on Friday.
most of the teams that we play away are partnered with TUDN, and Santos now is now with TUDN, and so I can't remember if we play. Yeah, or VIX. So I don't know if we play Santos at home or not, but if we're away, now we have a for sure game that we were going to be able to watch. So sort of keep up with that. Lou, you got the most followers, so make sure you follow his account. He'll definitely keep you updated. People are always asking him or sending him links or figuring out a way to make sure that, most of us get that information, and, we'll do our part as well. Going back to the actual game, though, you mentioned Aquino. Half the fan base was ready to push him out. It seems like he was one of the guys that benefited from Ortega coming on board and maybe stretching him as far as his player or play minutes that goes into the season. Anybody else? I thought for me specifically, Nando looked a little bit better, looked more energetic, more involved, and moving all over the place, like when he first arrived, and even like when he first was playing at Santos. Maybe still not providing that offensive punch that we want, but a lot more high pressure and actually meaningful runs and defensive work rate that he was providing. Alfred, I don't know if you had any other player standouts besides the ones that Dennis mentioned.
Reyes, there was this one play where I just couldn't believe that he actually beat the offensive player to the ball. I was like, wait a minute, where's this Reyes been all the time? So hopefully, I mean, it hasn't just been an impact on some of those players that were used to running a lot, and some of these slower players like Reyes, like Pizarro, like Carioca, that we can also see some physical improvement, or at least in the physical aspect of the game.
Absolutely. Changes, fellas. I know we already have our one signing, which is the goalkeeper. Lou, how do we feel about him going into the second game, being the starter?
Honestly, I'm ready to give him a shot. I think he's the future for us. Unfortunately, I was a big. I thought the goalkeeper we brought in, I thought he was going to do a good job, but he has not panned out. Rodriguez he just isn't the guy. He hasn't been able to handle the pressure well. He makes a lot of mistakes. So why not give Tapia a shot? I think it's time. You brought him in for this purpose, right? To kind of train under Nahuel. So to me, it's the perfect time. He's had enough reps with the team to be able to have a good flow, and I think it's the right opportunity for him.
And I feel like Rodriguez served what he was gonna serve you, right? Like he was a good backup, and he was able to step in, in for Nahuel and provided some good matchups or matches that he gave us some good moments, but his role has always been a backup goalie, and I think that Tapia has shown flashes of great future, and you paid for him or you have him on loan with the potential to buy, which I'm sure if all goes well, it's going to be a great purchase for us. But yeah, what do you think, Dennis? Any other changes heading into our second game of the season, which we have this for upcoming Friday, like you mentioned, against Atlas?
Tapia and Chelo, please. I don't care if you stick him out on the right wing and it's not his more preferred side of the field. Get him out there. You can have Sebastian and him kind of flip around and stuff. And if Brunetta sucks, because I assume he'll start, if he sucks in the first 45 minutes, yank him. Put Sebastian out in the middle in his preferred number 10 anyway, and then you put in Marcelo on the left in his preferred spot or put Osceola on the right. I'd like to see that from the start, honestly, but I know he's not going to do that. So realistically, those are my two.
Who knows, man? I mean, he pulled out Gignac at a decent time in Cordova. When I say decent time, not necessarily that I'm in agreement with them being pulled out, but I feel like the amount of time that the players got that were subbed on was significant minutes where they could have moments if they chose to, or the game allowed it. So, Alfred, any other changes that you'd like to see from Paunovic?
Well, I mean, like Lou said, there aren't many options, and yeah, I mean, I think that Linus is probably the best bet to replace Q. We all love Marcelo, but Marcelo is good on the left side, not on the right side, and Linus has proven to be a good player on both sides. So if we were to just take Q out and plug someone in, it would have to be Linus. And I also do think that Brunetta probably needs to be set down. I wonder if Ortega and Paunovic, and with the other video that just came out, I don't know if it was yesterday or a couple of days ago, Ortega yelling to Cordova, if they feel that Cordova is not there, physically, or that Brunetta can outlast him, because I mean we all saw it in last game, that Brunetta was not having his night, and Cordova, I mean, he got the penalty, it came from his play, and he seemed to be, having a good game. So it was just really weird that he got pulled out. I mean, Gignac got pulled out, which I think it's a positive thing that now we have a coach that is willing to pull him out sooner, because we all know, I mean, his age, he's not gonna, last us forever. And I think it'd be better if it's planned out that way, where it's, like Gignac, hey, we're gonna give you 60 minutes, we're gonna give you 70 minutes, and just full out, play your guts out, and then we'll pull you out and we'll bring someone fresh in. I think it's better than just trying to keep Gignac on all 90 minutes and stretch out his condition. So, but in the end, it's going to be up to Pauno, and I do hope it's not like what we saw last week, where he preferred Q and Brunetta over players like Cordova. But if it is, let's just hope that it works out.
And it's fine that he pulls Gignac this early now.
Yeah.
I mean, later on, probably not, especially once we get closer to the end and in Liguilla, but it's okay right now for sure.
Yeah, especially if once the team is more in tune and we come back from, we get back the injured players, which, I was going to bring up that point about injury. Linus just started training this week, so I think it's going to be a tough ask for him to come in and start. Same thing with Marcelo. So I think that he's going to roll with the same lineup. But there's something that you brought up, Alfred, that I hadn't considered yet about, Brunetta and versus Cordova, who lasts in a match. Just on perception, I think that Brunetta has the nod there. Not necessarily saying that his time on the field equals better minutes than Cordova, but I think that in a marathon per se, I think I would take Brunetta over Cordova. But Cordova gives you more significant touches, I think, on the ball throughout a shorter amount of time.
I think he has a bigger work rate. I mean, we see Cordova running further back on the field than Brunetta. Brunetta just kind of lingers around in his own area until the ball kind of, finds him. So that's why he lasts longer, I think.
Lou, I hate to beat this dead horse, but what I mean, besides an injury, what can be the reason behind Luis Quinones starting in the lineup?
I think Pauno is going for pace, and physically you can't fault Luis Q. He runs all day. He's like a little gazelle, He's just out there, Energizer Bunny. And so I think there's a certain pace Pauno wants to maintain throughout the entire game, when you notice the subs, he made them at the 59th minute. The team physically was starting to kind of drop, and Necaxa was starting to overtake us. And so as soon as he saw that dip in our pace, he made the subs. And I'm with Alfred. I think he made the subs more in terms of who can maintain the pace these last 30 minutes, and not so much on quality. Uh, Luis Q is always going to be that dude. I think he just has a lot of stamina. He's got a lot of endurance. He's able to run up and down. He's always going to be in the way, no matter if we don't like how he plays or the decision making he has in the final third. He's always around, and so I think coaches love that about him, is that he's able to track back, help out the fullback, and he's able to always push to the end line. So I think that's what coaches love about him, because he can't cross to save his life. He's a single digit crosser. So I mean, it's not like he's James Rodriguez dropping dimes into the box. So there's a certain amount of work rate that Pauno's looking at, and that's why it makes sense that they brought in this trainer in Ortega who can help our players kind of maintain that throughout the season. And you know, I feel like Piojo wanted that same thing. And so to me, it's going to be interesting how this all develops, because Piojo wanted what Pauno wants right now, and it failed on him. The whole thing busted, partly because the players didn't want to implement it, and who knows how much. It'll be interesting because Ortega has this pedigree, man. He's coming in from such an elite club that there is this buy-in from the players that Gibran, or what was his name? Giver Becerra, the Huesero, didn't have. You know what I'm saying? And so it could be that the players buy in a lot more with this new physical trainer. And we'll see what happens. But you could tell defensively also what he's trying to do is that instead of trying to defend, he's trying to have players be more instinctive, anticipate plays, and try to break up plays before they're able to counter on you, which is smart. It's smart if we can do it, and you can see already the players that are gonna do it well. Javier
Aquino,
Aquino's
yeah.
gonna do it very well. Gorriaran's gonna do it very well. But we'll see. We'll see how Carioca does. A player who kind of likes to settle in a little bit more. We'll see how it works out with certain players. Brunetta is another one. We'll see. But there's already certain players that you could tell are buying into his system, and others who are kind of let's wait and see.
Well, I also feel like players definitely have a lot more on the line with the arrival of the new coach and the new coaching staff. There's definitely, some players on the out due to contract age, just cycled out. So I think that the pressure definitely is more on the players to pursue and strive to buy into that winning mentality, or in this case, that physical aspect of implementing what the coaching staff wants. Glad you brought that up about the anticipation. I thought that's where Aquino and Nando were exceptional this past game, and it was talked about after. I saw on multiple people on Twitter that Aquino looked great, looked rejuvenated with the new coaching staff, Nando. So shout out to them. I hope that we continue that aspect. I think that on that end, I do, saw the positive in, like we talked about, just mentioning what we saw from the first game. I just think that, being at home, new network, a penalty kick victory wasn't probably what you would expect, but we did end the season very well, so maybe it continues to go on par with how we ended.
I know a lot of folks were upset with the way we played, and the amount of plays we were able to generate in the final third. But if you had disappeared after April 20th, which is the last time we played Necaxa, you landed on a stinking stranded island somewhere, no internet, no TV, and you didn't watch a single Tigres game until this last weekend, and you watched it again, you didn't know all the drama about Siboldi, and you're just watching the game without knowing who's on the bench. The game was nearly identical. XG was at 1.49. They 17 shots back in April, 17 shots this last weekend. I mean, nearly identical. The only thing is that we scored a bunch last time, and a lot of it is just it's just luck, it's circumstance. You put away. We had a few in the second half where
Nikos.
if we put away a few of those, the game changes, and it could have easily been a 3-1 game perhaps, and then people would have been a lot happier. But a lot of people were just disappointed that we just scored that one. But statistically, I know you guys don't want to hear that word, but statistically, it was nearly identical.
Yeah,
Why are
we
you
saw
calling out Nico, Arnoldo?
because we saw the stats, bro. We saw the XGs of Nico.
Man, Nico's gonna come through, man. He's gonna come through. Watch. And the reason I think he's gonna have a good season, not that he had a bad season last year. I think he's gonna have a good season again this year, even better than last season, is because he's gonna get consistent minutes this time. It's not gonna be on happenstance, because you gotta limit Gignac's minutes. If the pace is gonna be higher, you gotta limit Gignac's minutes. Otherwise, we're gonna injure him. We're gonna run him into the ground. And so it makes sense. Hey, play him 60 minutes, pull him, 60, pull him. Of course he's not going to be happy, but long term is what we need. We need to keep him on the pitch until the end of Liguilla, and that's the way we're going to do it. If we play him a full 90 plus stoppage time, we'll run him into the ground, and then he'll be out 3 or 4 games.
Let me ask
Yeah.
you, Lou. Because we've seen Nico a few seasons now. What would it take, or how bad would a season have to be for you to finally say, okay, we've given him enough chances?
If he doesn't score 4 and have at least 2 assists this season, so XG plus A, I mean G plus A at, let's say, 6, to me that's a failure, because he's gonna get consistently 30 minutes a game, in my opinion.
and some starts
Perhaps, yeah.
and the League's Cup for
And
sure.
honestly, I know you guys think I'm a huge fanboy, but I honestly think he's gonna come through.
I hope so.
The team, the pace is gonna be quicker, so the opportunities are gonna be there. The space is gonna be there a lot more, I think.
I'll mention this though. History is definitely not on his side as being a second striker for Tigres. It's been demonstrated for the past
Yeah.
8 or 9 years. Besides one that had a breakout season when he first arrived, which was Ener Valencia, and then before that, and Rafael Sobi's playing in a more assisting role for Gignac. Other than that,
Nobody's been horrible. Let's just say that. But
right?
nobody's been great. We've had the Charlie Gonzalez's, we've had the Nico.
I'd argue Andy Delort
yeah,
was pretty
yeah.
bad.
Well, he didn't get to play. I mean, we never saw him play. Tuca would give him
True.
3 minutes of trash garbage time.
Who else? We've had Charlie,
El Diente,
Diente Lopez. You can argue Edu
Edu
Vargas.
Vargas.
Well, Jofre Guerron was put in the bench by Gignac.
Our Libertadores hero.
Yeah, for sure.
Should
So
have played the final, man.
that's where I think that the misconception there is with Nico is that you paid 12, $13 million for him to, after winning, was it back-to-back scoring titles, and then championships at Pachuca, and having to come in and just provide immediate goals is tough, right? And so with what you mentioned is that hopefully with the increase of pace and more movement opening up for him, we see that actually come to production with goals. More so that I don't really care about the assists. I want the goals. I want him to be set up and score the easy goals, and the great goals with his amazing capability of hopping in the air and scoring headers. but he had one this past game. It would have been a great goal, just like his chilena. He had that scissor kick, and so we want him to succeed. It's just history, like I mentioned, is not necessarily on his side. So we'll see. Maybe it is time for father time, especially with Gignac. That opportunity actually opens up for that striking position. Um, let's see. What are we thinking as far as your prediction going into this Atlas game? Start with you, Dennis.
1-1 draw.
Man, with 17 goals on target on shots and one goal. Okay,
I don't know
Lou?
too much about Atlas, to be fair. So maybe they've gotten better. I don't know. This just feels like a draw for whatever reason.
They're
I'm
not
gonna
good.
I'm gonna go 2-0 on that one.
I think they finished what 16th, 15th last season.
Yeah, they had a rough season.
Yeah, they finished bottom three. So 2-0. I like that. I like that energy, Lou.
No, but you know what's gonna happen is that now that Jordi's back from Copa America, he's gonna blitz us.
Get out of here.
Not happening. Alfred.
I hope not.
Well, I mean, if we want to keep that upward momentum, we got to get a win. So any win is good, but I'd like that 2-0 that Luke had said.
Yeah, I'm going a little bit more reserved victory, but a 1-0 victory. Fellas, we got some sort of rumors happening, I guess.
Are they?
I don't know if they're truly believable. Unless we're planning on like scrapping it all, and and when I say this, I'm speaking about the midfield position. We've seen Guido Rodriguez. Some of these pages are just popping up out of nowhere. 1,000, 1,500 followers or less. But once you put out so many rumors, like eventually you get so many followers. I saw one called Mundo Futbolero or something like that.
Double O Nation clear. No, let me stop.
No, Double O Nation
That's fake
does
news.
the work. Yeah.
We love you, Edgar.
Guido Rodriguez, Alfred. You mentioned, I think, I mentioned that he probably, if he comes in, you have 6 months left of Rafael Carioca, and Peyo Maldonado mentioned the possibility of even moving Rafael Carioca, which doesn't seem like the best move, especially for a historic player, just to push him out that way when you have 6 months left. I don't think they're going to renew him. But to bring a defensive midfielder, a campeón del mundo, not a champion du monde, but un campeón del mundo. What do we think about the possibility of adding Guido Rodriguez to the squad, Alfred?
I would have thought it was, something that we weren't looking for a few weeks back. But now it actually does make sense. And even with what Lou mentioned earlier, about how very possibly Pauno, wants the work rate, wants players that are able to, keep the pace up during the entirety of the game. And we know that Carioca is not going to be one of those. And we also see the similar, aspect of the game to what Piojo had, and what happened with Carioca, at Piojo, in the Piojo era. He got benched, and he was one of the key players to which, Miguel Herrera made that, ending statement of, the team is getting old. So it does make sense that, if Paunovic's idea is to have, players that are going to be up and down the field, that are going to be, doing high pressure just all over the place. I mean, Carioca's not that type of player. And, they probably are thinking maybe ahead of time, if his contract is up in the next 6 months, that it might be the right time to find his replacement. And if that's the case, if that is the plan, Guido Rodriguez is a very good bet.
Especially with a free opportunity to sign him, right? His contract is terminated at Betis. And
that's what makes it unbelievable. Is like, oh my God, like nobody else is going after him. Like,
well, I don't think his market is high in Europe. He's 30. He would take up a foreign spot in whatever league that he would play in Europe.
But
Uh,
doesn't he have the Euro passport now?
Yeah,
According to
that-
Pello, Pello was
does he?
saying
I'm not
earlier.
sure.
Yeah,
Just
Pello
I
was
read
listen.
that
saying that he's
somewhere
got
else
the
too.
Euro passport.
Well, and here's the other thing too. He was getting interest from Barcelona because however much coverage you can get for all their injured midfielders, a la Pedri and Frankie de Jong, especially on a free, that sounds like a deal to me. But I think that interest is kind of waned down from. I know
Who put out that rumor?
Fabrizio did a
Oh,
long time ago.
really?
Yeah, so it's like a legit thing that they've wanted him, but I don't know if that interest is still there. I think it's kind of waned down. Who knows?
I
Was
heard
it?
that interest was from Xavi. So since
Yeah,
Xavi's
Maybe that. Maybe that's what it. Maybe what's his face? It's there
Hansi
now.
Flick. I don't see
Hansi.
Hansi
Maybe.
Flick signing him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
then
don't
I
either.
think that's why the whole thing fell
Opened
off
up.
because yeah, because he didn't want him.
Especially, I mean, think about Barcelona, all the financial crap that they're in. Like to get somebody on a free, like just a random midfielder, would have been good for them. So again, the door's open now.
Yeah, that's why I said. I mean, I think despite mentioning that he might not have the same market as he had when he was younger, I still think that coming free, there'd be a lot of teams that be willing to get him. So if we do get him, I think it'd be a win, a straight win. It'd be win comparable to those that Miguel Angel Garza would bring. So it we like anything and like everything what we've seen in the last few weeks, it's up in the air. It's just a rumor. It might not even come to fruition, but if it does, it'd be great.
I know for sure, and it's been mentioned now by Vladimir. It's been mentioned by I think not Edgar. Maybe it was is it Gary Lou, the other guy that I'm thinking about, or Rosales. One of the I know a center back is gonna come to Tigres. I don't know when, but I've seen it now reported by multiple sources that they don't want to like come out and say who's coming because I don't think they know, but they're definitely whispering to them that a center back is coming, and that's a way to alleviate the pressure with the fan base. And I think that now that Samir has, sort of been relegated, I guess, to a non-role, and he's on the way out. He's watching his negotiations are happening for between a team or multiple teams for him, and so that opens up one foreign spot. So you bring in Guido, let's play it out, and Carioca goes to the bench, and you play Guido Rodriguez and Nando Correran. Do we like that work rate? And you're gonna say something, Dennis?
I was gonna say that Guido does have interest from Atalanta, so he still has kind of a market in Europe. But the Barcelona thing definitely that ship sailed when Flick came in. You're right. I'm reading this from Yahoo, which is about as reliable as you can get. So hopefully,
I mean, 30 years old, you've already played in the league. You're probably going to come in as probably a top 5 salary at Tigres in the league. I mean, why not? Lou, stuck on that question. What do we like, or that scenario? He comes in, move Carioca to the bench, or do we move Carioca at this point? At this point,
Carioca is not the type of player that's gonna enjoy the bench and is gonna take it well. If you bring in Guido Rodriguez, you have to move Carioca or try to move him. I mean, to me, Carioca, there's bound to be a handful of teams that will want him. I mean, he's just a magician in the midfield. He's still got plenty of good juice left in him. So to me, you bring in Guido, you move Carioca. It's just the logical thing to do because he's not going to be effective off the bench. He wasn't effective with Piojo, because Piojo didn't want to give him a lot of minutes. He's not going to increase his work rate ever, no matter who you bring in, El Profe Ortega, whatever. He likes to play a certain style, and that's what he's going to do. To me, having just thinking of the thought of having Gorriarán and Guido
that
Rodriguez there in that central mid
sounds good.
position, sounds really good, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just there's no way around it. It just sounds fantastic. I mean, you got a guy who's defensively fantastic in that midfield. He's gonna cover a lot of ground. Obviously, he's not gonna be as slick as Carioca, right? We're gonna miss that part of Carioca, but Guido Rodriguez and Gorriaran together, I think they would just fly, dude. They would own that midfield. I mean, you're talking about probably the best pairing, in the entire league, with those two. So I mean, it would be fantastic. And to me, obviously, it's an important signing if they could do it, but we still need to fortify the center back position. Some injuries happen a lot. So Samir Caetano, do we want that guy playing at all this season? I don't think so. I mean, the way he's practicing, the way he looks out there, he's jogging around like he doesn't
He's on
care.
the way
That
out.
that dude has to go. So that dude leaves. We got to bring in a solid center back, an elite center back. So I mean, unfortunately, Samir, I had a really high ceiling for that guy. I thought he was going to be a beast. Honestly, I thought he was going to be like Julio Cesar, that kind of level, and he's just been a huge disappointment.
One thing that I recall from multiple pods ago, um, we talked about bringing a different type of defensive midfielder than Gorreran, than Carioca, than Fierro, than Bigon. And Guido Rodriguez brings that. Somebody that can
Yeah,
stop, play, anticipate. We talked about the new approach that we're trying to have. Someone that can, you know, as we say in Spanish, morder,
yeah.
and stop play, and be
Or
that
break
dirtiness.
break it all up, break it all up.
Yeah, and you just stop movement, from the opposition, and I think he'd fit great. I'm with you. I don't think Carioca moves to the bench, so that's why I said the other day, that means that he would go to the bench, but I don't think that's a scenario you play out. Um, Carioca does have some market here in Brazil, and even if it's
Heck,
six,
even MLS would love to have him. Imagine
yeah,
having a guy like that in the midfield.
yeah. 6 months left of contract, you can turn around and make some profit out of that. It's like we did with Igor Lichnowsky, which hopefully we hear what that amount was, but 2 to 3 million would have been great for his sale. So another rumor that was floated around yesterday and today was a French defender.
Klaus.
Yeah, how much belief and what do we know about him, Dennis?
I've seen him on FIFA. That's about the extent of my knowledge of him. I think he was on at some point. He was like in one of the French teams, not for like the World Cup, but maybe for like a Nations League thing. I don't know. I don't know too much about him. I know he's a little bit older. He's been in Marseille for a decent bit. Um, Other than that, not too sure. I could look up though. That's why we have phones.
It seems like it's just a forced rumor just to have something floating around. I think he plays right back. If I'm not, he's a center back that can play right back or vice versa, one of the two. Um,
Who came
but
up with the rumor? Double L Nation.
no, it was the same account that tweeted out about Guido Rodriguez. But Guido Rodriguez W Deportes, which is it's a radio station, and some of the guys that do television are covered for that radio station. Their account tweeted it, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think the rumor has a little bit more validity as
Oh,
far
I'm
as
sorry.
services.
Klaus was literally on the French team of the Euro. I'm sorry. I was not familiar with your game, my friend. But he didn't play, obviously. But
How old is he?
31.
Nope.
Yeah, a little too old. He also has interest from Nice in the French league anyway. So I don't know why he would want to move.
Is that one of the teams that's going to go bankrupt?
Maybe.
There's like
Maybe.
8 teams going bankrupt in the
Dude, well,
French.
that's what. Well, and when Mbappe leaves, it's like, what else do you expect? Like that league's gonna die because they don't have a TV deal and they're sponsored by McDonald's.
You're telling
Straight
me
up,
Ousmane Dembele can't handle the league?
bro. He's one of the worst players I've ever seen in my life. Why? Why did he play so much at the Euros? Anyway, this is not a Euro show.
He's the Jurgen Damm of France.
Absolutely.
So bad.
Double Nation, shout out to him for putting an outline together. Mentioned Chicha Sanchez to Chivas and the Nene Beltran rumor.
Oh,
Oh yeah, jeez, I forgot about the Chicha bit.
I didn't see
I
that.
hope
Did I
we
miss
don't give
that?
up. I hope we
I
don't
didn't
give
see
up
that
on
either.
Chicha. I posted that one on the group thread at one point, and can't remember. I can't remember which account was it that tweeted that out. But
I'll say this. I mean, I would not love it, obviously, but for his,
Sake.
professional wise,
Yeah.
for his safety, I think it'd be a good move for him. But no, obviously we don't want to let him go. I think he's a good prospect, and if we were to somehow magically get rid of Q, it opens up, opportunity for Chicha. So
Yeah. It shouldn't open up though because Osiel Herrera should take those minutes, but that guy's made out of crystal.
Yeah.
So, but
uh,
that's another topic. Hopefully he produces this season and doesn't get hurt. Miguel Ortega's probably on the way out with Tapia obviously being signed on, and you renewed Felipe Rodriguez, so that leaves our goalkeeper set. Amazonas time. That was a little bit better of a display than our men's side. 3-1 victory, but still a lot to process, I guess. Lou, I've been waiting to discuss this because I'm pro firing Mila Martinez, but there's one thing that I feel like she has not or hasn't been judged correctly and criticized too much is on the Jenny Hermoso thing topic. We looked a lot better without Jenny Hermoso on the field. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Uh, and many people immediately say because she's playing out of position. Tigres Femenino won the game 3-1. Um, Ovalle scored.
twice.
Montoya had a great game, yeah, twice. And but Jenny Hermoso, she people say that Mila plays her too far back. I think it's a little bit of 50-50. I think she chooses to do that. I watched the entire first game of the season. I'm sorry, the Campeón de Campeones. Watched this game, without her obviously, and just going backtracking to last season. She loves being around the ball. So, talk to me about the play that the team had, and the Jenny Hermoso aspect that I'm introducing here.
Well, I 100% agree with you. The team looks way better without Jenny Hermoso on the pitch, and I agree with you. It probably is 50-50. I mean, it probably is Jenny Hermoso also wanting to play, but who coaches the squad, right? It's Mila. So Mila says, "Hey, you don't look good back there. Move to the, move to the box. Then you move to the box, right?" That's so to me, that's still a Mila issue. If the player wants to gather the ball in the middle third, then that's not where we want you. You need to be up top. So I think Mila needs to fix that either way. So it's still on Mila to me. Um, and the problem with Jenny Hermoso playing in the middle third alongside, you know, Alexia Delgado is that she slows down play. And you saw it in this last game. Tigres had a much nicer pace, faster on the attack. And she's a lot like Carioca, right? I mean, she wants to like handle the ball, she wants to distribute, and frankly, it just kills any type of counterattack, any fast lightning attack. And so to me, ideally, Jenny Hermoso needs to be playing where Alison Gonzalez is.
Right.
Alison Gonzalez hasn't produced what I thought she would produce. So play her where Alison Gonzalez is. You're going to be at the 9 and receive crosses from Ovalle and Tembi or Ovalle and Montoya. And, she's tall. She's got a huge body, so she's able to bring the ball down, shoot. Whatever she wants to do, she can do it in the box. And so that to me is that's just the logical thing to do. What really amazed me about the Amazonas, man, is these signings. I mean, Ana Seiza, the girl from Benfica that came over, is so polished, dude. I mean, she's like Ferral, but on steroids. It's just amazing to watch her. It's kind of reminded me like a young Rafa Marquez back in the day. Just massive body, able to just everybody's bouncing off of her, but she's so polished with everything. Her game is just really awesome. And I mean, I don't know how Mila's gonna do it because I think she's gonna have to sit down Greta Espinosa.
Three
Oof.
at the
I
back.
mean, it's a
Three
yeah,
at the
or
back.
or or switch to a 3-5-2. That's what I would love to do. See, a 3-5-2. You can play Greta, Ferral, and Ana Seiza. And you still have a problem because Natalia Collin is like a bull in a china shop, man. I mean, that girl, talk about anticipating plays. That girl just loves to go get the ball. And so, and it's, 19-year-old, massive. She's super tall. Good pace. So, I mean, at some point, she's got to think about putting in Natalia Colin at the five.
Well, she
Because
put Ana at the five
yeah,
to play defensive mid and leave Natalia with I'm sorry, with Ferral. Um, you know what I was gonna say about you talking about Juliana Hermoso? You know what she's doing? She's padding those stats, getting those touches on the ball. Uh, but yeah, I think we played a lot better. I'm not sure if you guys, Alfred, Dennis, were able to catch the game, but uh, it just looked like that team that we were expected to see, a lot more free flowing, more electrifying, pushing forward. Um, and I think that Montoya being a winger playing out wide. I know Tembi had a great game the previous game, but Montoya had a great game, so she's going to provide some headaches there to see who she's going to play with. But with the amount of games that they're going to play, the minutes should be distributed easily amongst them two on the right wing. The left wing position is where, like, at times I get concerned. This game we played great, and maybe it's due to the fact that Jenny Hermoso was not playing and not stopping the play as much. But I think that when the play is free flowing and you're able to attack teams, Ovalle looks great, but when you struggle, she just doesn't shine as much because the game becomes repetitive, becomes predictable. Throw it out to her on the left wing and let her work her magic. And so I think that providing the right players, and I think that's going to be the toughest job for Mila as she goes into these amount of games into the summer, or as we are into the summer.
and you say predictable, and predictable is what center backs and back lines love to hear. Fullbacks and center backs love to hear the word predictable, because you're predictable. They know how to defend you. And so I think that's also on Mila. Mila has to learn how to mix it up. She's got the weapons to do it. For example, let's say you play Montoya on the right wing. That doesn't mean you have to leave Thembi on the bench, right? You could easily play Jenny Hermoso at the 9, and Thembi can play as an 8, and then you still got Hawaii on the left. So you've got Thembi as a central attacking mid. Now you've got another player that center backs need to watch, right? So that frees up Ovalle to do her thing on the left wing, and you're also having to deal with Montoya on the right side, and Jenny Hermoso is going to be tying up the center backs. So you see, you mix it up, you mess around with the formations, you mess around with the players, and you're able to create different looks. But that's the problem with Mila, right? She's also become predictable, and because we're predictable, then defenses know how to stop us.
Absolutely. El Tigre Sibin is saying for the feminine side, got to pick up another striker and left winger. Agree with that. Lots of games coming up, distribute the workload. So, just as I mentioned, one thing to note, fellas, Jimena Lopez, I mentioned it as soon as the Campeón de Campeones, where she got her minutes. I think it's gonna take her a while to, you know, I don't want to use the word adjust, or maybe take the position from Nati Villarreal. Nati Villarreal, maybe she's not the best left back going forward and providing, what Anika Rodriguez provides on the right side. But her work rate and, her agility and, her pace, it's definitely something that you can't teach. And Jimena Lopez, when she made her debut against Rayadas, for a left back, she's obviously very physical. Honestly, I thought she is more like a center back, but she's obviously a left back. So I think it's going to take her a while. So she didn't get subbed in. And then something else to point out is, the inclusion of Ana, the Portuguese 23-year-old signing who we signed the defensive mid position, like we mentioned. And then you had Chata Hernandez, who you brought in after you got rid of Nancy Antonio and Liliana Mercado, just riding the bench these past few games. What do you think about that, Lou?
Honestly, I feel like Chata Hernandez, that was just a favor. It feels like a favor Mila Martinez was doing for her. I just don't see the need. I don't see it. That what does Chata Hernandez give you that for example Mercado wasn't? She's not much faster. Obviously she's younger, but you also had Nancy Antonio, And then you brought in Natalia Colin and Ana Seiza, who could probably play that spot as well. And obviously, she's not going to take over Alexia Delgado's spot. I don't believe so.
Nobody is.
So, then what was the need? To me, honestly, left fullback was more of a need than central defending mid, because yeah, Natalia Villarreal does it, but she struggles with the pace. And then you bring in Jimena Lopez, who is really not that fast. I watched her, and she just doesn't have the speed, which is what you want along that left wing, to be able to just play alongside Ovalle, do some overlapping runs. She's not going to be able to do that. And so to me, you still have a need at left back, and you brought in a player to cover an unneeded position. So, I feel like that was more of like Mila kind of doing, playing friends there with her, saying, "Hey, come on over."
Or a payment transaction.
There you
Since
go.
Mercado came out on Fox Deportes, she was interviewed and she said that she was looking for a basically, I think it was a combination of, she didn't have a starting position set. And I think she understood, right? Like she's more on the mature side, and she knew that her time was, or her cycle was coming to an end at Tigres. And so she didn't have her a for sure starting nod um, secured. So she was looking for, something different. And she mentions that in the interview. And, maybe Chata Hernandez was a way to pay Tigres for Liliana Mercado.
Yeah, that's very possible.
Fellas, anything else before we go? This is one of our shorter pods, but nice little 56 minutes that we got going on. Let's sum it up with anything from the vault that we saw recently, or that we thought of to share with our viewers and or listeners.
I have something from the vault, and our listeners will have to tune into the video version if they just listen. But here you go. Look at this.
Ooh,
Now this is small.
nice.
I want you to see how small this is. Okay.
What year is that? 92? Is that 92?
I
93?
don't know, but
Yeah,
I wore it when I was 2 years old. My dad brought it from Mexico, so there you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
that's awesome. I want to say that's 92, bro.
Is it?
Yeah.
It could be.
Dennis, anything from the vault?
Nah, man. The only thing that I'm waiting for now is just this away jersey. I got that PayPal information ready to go to get this shipped over before the Miami game.
It's got to be probably closer to Leagues Cup, I'd assume.
Well, what did Tigres jersey say? He put out the day. It was like the 22nd or 3rd that it's supposed to come out.
Originally it was the 22nd, then they changed to the 24th to the 26th. But
Ah.
I mean, what do you expect with the summer that we had? You really think that we're going to be on point with the release date?
No, man.
The home jersey got leaked again on Adidas US website.
True.
Oh man, it's been
This is-
crazy, man. And then this TV thing, bro. They dropped it so bad, man. I don't want to get you guys started on that. I don't want to go down that hole, but this whole TV thing in the US was just
Hey, but just to
Brutal.
clarify, the Leagues Cup is going to be through MLS Pass, right?
Yeah, it's through Apple.
yeah.
Thank the
Okay, so
Lord.
we
It's
don't have
gonna
to
be
worry about Fox
fantastic.
Sports for the Leagues Cup.
Well, I mean, are we even going to watch it on TV? I mean, they're in Houston, so like,
Well, yeah,
We'll be there
but
live.
yeah, we'll be there. We'll be there both.
Yes,
The group
sir.
games.
Humble brag.
Yeah.
If you're interested, or anybody's interested, I got an email today from the Houston Dynamo about a package deal for the Amazonas game against the Houston Dash. You have to buy the game for the 21st against the
Puebla?
Washington. No. The Houston Dash regular NWSL season game against the Rain. I think it's the
Oh, I see.
Washington Rain, if I'm not mistaken. So that ticket is like forced upon you, but you have the option to choose the Houston Dash versus Pachuca or the Houston Dash versus Tigres. Very low price for both games for 2 tickets. Ranges anywhere from about $30 to $35. So I think it's a good deal. Amazonas play on a Sunday at 7:00 against the Houston Dash. So, like I said, anybody watching or listening, I can definitely share that information. I'm sure everybody that's been to a game at the Dynamo might have gotten it. but it came directly from ticket sales. And thanks for joining us in the past, but their Liga MX is coming back. And I was like, okay, great, thank you. And I checked out the tickets, and it was a good deal. So wanted to share that as well. Definitely going to be posting this week the flyer for the Miami game. We're gonna have a tailgate. I reached out to the Houston Texans. The page is up now as far as parking and stuff. Parking is going to be $22. It's not going to be cash. They don't do cash anymore, so make sure you take credit card or Apple Pay. So $22 for parking, but that is subject to change. So don't be surprised if that goes up, especially being against Miami. But the page is up, so I emailed them. So I'm just waiting to hear confirmation about tailgate policies to make sure if we will have the difference between some carne asada or tacos versus snacks and dips, because they won't let you cook. So
We want those Calle Siete tacos.
exactly, brother. I mean, I don't
And
want
hats.
Merchandise.
I
The
can't
merch.
I can't do a tailgate and give out dips, chips and dips and sandwiches to my fellow Regios that come to Houston. So it's going to be a good time. We confirmed last week that Messi will be there since he's not going to the Olympics. Hopefully Di Maria signs with Miami, so there's even more hype around the game. Obviously Luis Suarez just got eliminated in the Copa America, but has had a great season for Miami. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a good test to see where we're at as far as with the new coach and the new physical trainer, and then to see where we're at after the first 4-game season on the table. I think it's a very, very good time to take advantage of solidifying good standings as we go into League Cup and then come back and play.
I can't wait to see Samir Caetano shutting down Luis Suarez.
I hope I don't
You
get to see
wish.
that.
Come on.
You wish. Okay,
Hey,
real quick. Euro prediction and Copa prediction for Sunday. Who wins?
It's coming home, lads. You guys know that.
Nah,
It's
bro.
coming home.
You
Shout
want
out to my boy
predictions or you
Woodley.
want hopes and wants and dreams?
No. Predictions.
I'm going Spain. Big fan of Dani Olmo and their wing play. I think it's definitely something that we haven't seen from Spain in a while. I think it's definitely cool to see letting their wingers go at it. They're gonna, probably struggle a little bit with the horrible, management of Southgate in terms of having that great roster and squad and be very defensive and boring. But I think Spain ultimately wins it. And Copa America, I mean, you got to let, the script continue to write itself as he continues to age. He's going to get another title. And I'm speaking about Leo Messi.
Write itself or written for him?
A little bit of both. He still plays. He scored.
I'm going England, Colombia.
He scored.
I'm Colombia. Okay.
England,
Yeah, I'm not gonna
Colombia.
bet against Argentina. We all know they're taking it, but if it were up to me, I'd hope it would come home in Europe and we get to dance some vallenatos. That's what I would hope.
España. I don't think it's going to be close. Genuinely, I think Spain's been the best team the whole tournament. And Argentina, they're playing in Miami. The script is already written.
They definitely set it all up so they
Oh,
didn't have to travel too
100%.
much.
They're
Right?
easier side of the bracket in Miami. I mean, the atmosphere for that game is going to be awesome, though.
Yeah.
Great.
Colombians and Argentinians at in a stadium and
Bruh.
in Miami. Oof.
Yeah.
Bruh, maybe more fights will break out like at the end of the game tonight.
You
Shout out
know,
Darwin Nunez.
I was rooting for Colombia because I liked their exciting play that they had throughout the Copa, but I thought that Uruguay, dang, I sounded very American there. Uruguay should have beaten them, especially with so much time that they played with a man up. And I think it would have been a more of a, I guess, a tougher competition for Argentina. I think because it's Colombia, it favors Argentina more.
I agree. I do.
completely.
But I think we should go after lots of Euro wines moving forward.
Maxi
La
Araujo, come to
Garra
Tigres.
Maxi Araujo. Alfred was super big on Mojica tonight for Colombia.
De la
I
I'm down
thought
for
you
Cruz.
were
that. De la Cruz, yeah. Throw like 10 million at Flamengo. Be like, here you go.
Where did Carioca start?
Flu?
I
Fluminense?
thought it was
Santos.
Diva or something like that. No,
Mm,
Oh,
Real
it could
quick,
be. It could be.
real
Oh,
quick,
wasn't that
Dennis.
Atlético Paranaense?
It wasn't.
Yeah.
Are you sure? We're not sure it was a red and black team. Which was the red and black team? With the,
Well, that is Flamengo. That's red and black.
I think it was that
Atlético
Flamengo.
Mineiro.
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 Yeah, yeah,
Mineiro.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I was hoping we can work out transaction there. All right, fellas. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. El Tigre si bien, thank you for commenting and sharing your thoughts. Everybody, have a wonderful day, night, evening, whatever, wherever you're listening. Thank you so much.
Take care, everybody.
Follow us on Twitter and Insta. Bye.